Okay, I'm going to stop. I see a question back there. Oh, yes. Mr. Alwan is, he is a Pakistani. Mr. Bracetta was number 3 in the Democrat caucus in Washington. Employed him, Mr. Alwan, with Debbie Wasserman Schultz and a number of others. Mr. Alwan was very creative. He set up his own computer servers in Pakistan. Apparently he thought maybe he gets a better deal in Pakistan, and transferred data off of house computers all over the Capitol back to Pakistan. When the Capitol Police wanted to know, wanted a copy of the hard drive that was in Mr. Bracetta's office, Mr. Bracetta delivered to the Capitol Police a hard drive that had been doctored. They'd cleaned it so that the U.S. authorities wouldn't know what they had actually stolen from other offices. Some of those members that he had access to were members of the Intelligence Committee. What do you think left those offices? He was paid a large amount of money by the Democrats in Congress, and Mr. Bracetta was the leader in the amount of money. But ultimately, Alwan entered a plea. We don't know what is going to happen in the end. Apparently, he's still in the United States. I thought he'd left, but people are saying he's still here. So he may be cooperating with U.S. authorities now. But in Mr. Bracetta's case, as soon as that matter came to light, that there may have been a spy, not that there aren't other spies that have been working for other Democrats here in California, but the Democrats moved him out to California to get him out of Washington. So you got him. Any other questions? Yes.
If Gavin Newsom is going to be our governor, why does he have no candidate statement in this?
Well, would you want, let me be flippant, would you want to have to write a ballot statement to explain what you had done in San Francisco? But, the other side of it is, he's already been elected in his own mind. What do you have to say about it? Why does he need to tell you anything? There's a reason people don't put ballot statements in. And if they have nothing to say, no record to stand on, then you wouldn't pay the $5,000 to put one in. Well, why is the mainstream media endorsing Gavin Newsom? Why is the Chronicle and the Mercury, or whatever the San Jose paper is, and the LA Times, and I think that's pretty much a given. Those papers, as the Sacramento Bee told me when they had interviewed me in the primary, they didn't bother to do it in the general. They interviewed me in the primary, and at the end of the interview, one of the reporters looks at me and says, thank you for coming in. It was a very interesting interview. We had a very good time talking to the reporter, and the reporter says, well, we have a policy. The LA Times has a policy, and the policy doesn't include anyone who's in the center right. If you're not to the far left, you're not part of their policy. So it's hardly a surprise that those papers would be endorsing Gavin Newsom. Well, there's somebody who regularly tells us that they're fake. They, one of the things that the mainstream news has been saying for a long period of time is how they're part of the press, they're there to be independent and fair. If you go back to the 1820s, 30s, 40s, and read what was being said about candidates running then, it was obvious the news media has never been fair and impartial. They pick sides, they always have. It's not a surprise that the liberal media has picked a side. It's not going to be me. And in fact, if I get an endorsement, I will probably have a heart attack. Yes?
What can we do about sanctuary cities?
Well, there's two things. Number one, there's litigation in the federal courts right now. And recently a case was decided by a federal judge saying that the federal government could not cut off funds to local governments. That changes come January 2015 because the litigation strategy of the state is now in my purview. I get to decide what the litigation strategy is. I think sanctuary cities and sanctuary states unconstitutional. I intend to go out and fight to have it overturned. Yes.
The Allen Rock School District is the first one in Santa Clara County that declared the school a sanctuary school. That's why I'm running also.
Yeah. Any other questions? Thank you for having me.